Hello, my name is Jimmy and this is the brand new 2021 Kia Sorento. Brand spanking new, this is Kia's second largest SUV, the biggest being the Telluride. Some call this the baby Telluride, but it doesn't really look like it. This has definitely its own distinct look, and it's also 8 inches shorter. Another area of difference, this Sorento only carries 7, or this specific one only carries 6. Here in Canada, models are a little bit different than the US. So I'll speak to what I know, and that's the Canadian trims. Up here in this cold, snowy country we call Canada, all Sorentos come with all-wheel drive, probably to get through all the snow that we're getting. In Canada, if you were to opt with the turbo motor, you only get the 6-passenger variant. There is no bench seat for turbo models. So for those times you may need to carry 5 or 6, you need to banish them to the third row. But we'll get to the third row a little bit later. Let's talk about the style. The Sorento, as mentioned, is brand new. Kia's design language is quite unique, while other brands have a very distinct look where sometimes you really can't even tell the difference between the different models. I'm looking at you, Audi. Kia's vehicles don't have that family image to them. They do share a few things like this tiger nose grille and the indent on the top of this glass. But this looks significantly different than the K5, for example. In my opinion, that is a missed opportunity because I really like how the K5 looks, especially those heartbeat headlamp daytime running lights. These look alright, but they just aren't as special. On the side we get 20-inch wheels, and that's what we get standard when you get the turbo engine. We also get this little kink on the C-pillar, a cool little design trait. Around back we get this odd set of tail lamps. It's kind of weird, but it reminds me a little bit of the Mustang, but without the third piece. Overall, the Sorento's inoffensive styling means it should look good for years to come. If you want something a little bit more rugged, you can opt for the X-Line trim in Canada or the package in the US. This gives you a little bit more of that rugged look and an additional inch of ground clearance. Good for parking lot curbs or whatever else you want to run over. Since all Sorentos are 3-row SUVs, well, there just may not be as much room as you like. Stand behind the vehicle for a few seconds and the tailgate automatically reveals 12.6 cubic feet. That is smaller than the CX-9 and only slightly larger than the brand new Outlander. If you were to put anything more than just a few small items, you will probably need to fold that third row down. And once you do, you get 38.4 cubic feet, which is much more respectable. Let's get into the third row, because while there are these buttons that allow the second row to slide forward, there isn't a whole lot of room back here. I'm 5'11" and it's tight. Not the best back here, but we can sacrifice a bit of second row legroom for the people back here, but let's be honest, these are definitely designed for kids rather than adults. As for the second row, most likely where your family is going to be at, with the base motor you get a cloth bench that spans across the second row, while any turbo variant, at least here in Canada, comes standard with these captain chairs. And they're not bad. They're heated, there's these window blinds on the side, and there's this enormous panoramic sunroof to let in plenty of light. As for the front seats, these are just as comfortable. I feel the leather isn't as soft as some others like the Santa Fe or the CX-9, but not terrible in any way. We get heated and cooled seats, which is a nice touch. I even get a 4-way lumbar support on the driver's side. In front of the driver, we get a pretty typical steering wheel layout. Nothing too special here, but there is a digital dash that's nice and flashy. Sadly, this is only available on the top trim. The rest of the lineup gets standard analog gauges. As for the main infotainment display, we get this large 10.25-inch display. Lower end trims get an 8-inch unit. With this system, we get all the typical things that we find in Kia or Hyundai products, like Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, sounds of nature, navigation, and a bunch more. Below the infotainment, we find the climate control, which works well enough. But I must admit, I'm not a big fan of these touch control buttons. I would prefer just regular buttons or dials. Luckily, these controls items that you probably won't use every day, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Overall, the interior is nice. We have a wireless charger and plenty of USB ports to go around. I count 8 within this cabin, and there's even a 124 outlet for you to plug in whatever else you may have. Only thing I would note is there may be a little bit too much glossy black plastics around for those who like to keep their interiors nice and clean. Here's something that I love right away when driving the new Kia or Hyundai products. When you use a turn signal, you can see what's on your blind spot. So the left and the right, it's fully visible for me, so I'm able to make sure I don't hit anyone or see a cyclist that's coming. Great little feature. So it doesn't like completely take it away from shoulder checking, but it kind of does. In any case, let's talk about what's under the hood. Depending on the model that you get, you can get 2 different engine options. There is the base 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. It makes 191 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque. But let's be honest, that's not the engine you want to get, because that's the same engine that you get in like the base Tucson, and it's not enough. You want more power than that. And that's where this motor, the turbo engine, comes into play. It's still a 2.5 liter, but it's a 4-cylinder turbo, and it makes 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That is mated to an 8-speed automatic driving all 4 wheels for any of the models that are here in Canada. And it's sufficient, I would say. Power is good, torque is better, but for some reason I feel like it's lacking something. Let me give you a demonstration here. I'm fully stopped here. I'm going to put it into, you know what? No, I'll leave it in comfort, because that's what you're going to be in. There's no one coming, I'm going to floor it. That was quite a delay. Okay, and now I'm up to speed with traffic at 50 kilometers an hour. That took long. From the moment I put my foot down, there was a delay. And just to get up to speed, it's not that quick. It may be just this Sorento, as it is a press car and it does get driven pretty hard, but for some reason, like the GV80 and the G80, which you can watch the reviews up here for, it had the same engine and it just felt better. Sure, it had more power at 300 horsepower, but I just feel like this is lacking a little something. Even like the CX-9, which is a very similar motor, still a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder turbo. It makes very similar torque at 310 if you use regular gas, and that just felt better. When I floored it in that, it pushed me back into my seat. It was more enjoyable than this. But what this does have is a really, really good all-wheel drive system. It's torque vectoring to a point where it uses brakes to kind of help you go around corners. And by doing that, in some situations where maybe going through a higher speed corner, it does help you kind of track. And it just feels better than a standard all-wheel drive system, which is always nice. The only thing is, most people won't be able to reach that level. It's not something that you'll feel every day. And what you will be feeling every day is just, well, pretty decent driving experience. It's comfortable enough, but definitely not sporty. The suspension rides nice and soft. It's cushy. Steering wheel, it's as communicative as any car these days. It's definitely not something you're going to be finding carving mountain roads or anything like that. Overall, I think it's a good driving experience. Definitely not as good as the CX-9. I personally still think that is better. But, I mean, you're buying an SUV. Does it really matter about your driving experience? Probably not. What does matter is just how safe the vehicle is. Of course, you're going to be carrying your kids around. Or maybe I am. But the safety aspect is, you know, a high priority. The Sorento is a IIHS top safety pick, which means it has all the features to keep you and your family safe. You got radar guided cruise control, lane keep assist, and the lane keep and the radar guided stuff, that all works really, really well. In the city, it can be a little jerky, but on the highway, it tracks really, really well. It finds the roads, it's able to just keep track of the vehicle in front. It's almost like it's driving itself. I mean, it's not, but it almost can. And that's definitely a good feeling because it just reduces the stress of driving when you're going longer journeys or longer distances. But I think that's really it. That's all I can really say about the Sorento itself. So let me find a good place to pull over here and summarize everything up. The 2021 Kia Sorento. Who is it for? It's great for someone that has 1 or maybe 2 kids. You can sit them in the second row here, and if you need, you got that third row just in case. If you're looking for something that's similar with a bench second row and just elimination of that third row, then you should take a look at the new Santa Fe. The Santa Fe, especially that top trim, it comes with better materials and it's actually at the same price. The base price of a Sorento comes in at $33,995 Canadian. That's $29,835 in the US. And as tested, it's $47,495 Canadian. So yeah, it's the top trim, it has everything that you need. But I think this is what a lot of families are looking at. You can put your kids in the second row here and everything for them behind them. And if you need, there's a third row for you. And that's basically what it's all about. If you have more kids though, Telluride, Carnival, much better options. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. If you have any questions or anything like that, leave them in the comment section down below, and I'll be sure to reply and all that good stuff. Take care, and have a great day.